Slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So we're going to continue down this road of Israel being in Africa, Israel being a people who live in Africa. Now, I know that some people have a problem with Israel being descendants of what they call Africans, because in their mind, Africans are Hamites. But Africa is a continent with different people groups. And if you go and look at Jubilees, you'll see how that land was split up. See, I'm of the opinion, okay, I'm like 99.9% sure, in my opinion, that Africa is the land of Israel. Now, whether the Kalahari is Jerusalem, I'm still working on that one. I think there's a high probability that it is. But here's the thing. You're not going to wake up from the matrix unless you start digging. Okay? You're literally, look, it took me over 2.5 years to get to the point where I could even accept the idea that Africa is Israel, or the land of Israel, because Israel is a people. See, that land over there in the Middle East is no way, could never be, in my mind, ever have been our land. Now, if you got a problem with people in Africa being our people, because, you know, you see different cultural mannerisms, I'm like, okay, well, we in America grew up in Babylon. We in the UK grew up in Babylon, right? I mean, we in the Babylonian system. You're going to be different. But if you look at some of our personality traits, like especially some of the ones what I've seen in Nigeria, you can see a lot of similarities in some of the Nigerians. Now, the question is, right, you know, what tribe you from? I think most of us, probably the majority of us, are from, you know, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Now, when it comes to having to, you know, accept the idea that the land of Africa, or the continent of Africa, is our homeland, is the land of Israel. Let's look at the scriptures, see, because we went through it already. We went through where the promised land is and what the description of the promised land is supposed to be. We went through that, and that place over there in the Middle East, not even close. We went through the scriptures that talks about how it has to have all of these rivers and fountains of waters and, you know, animals and materials and, you know, all of those things, minerals. We went through that. King Solomon had his gold mines. So they want you to believe that King Solomon held on to a gold mine because he was over there in the Middle East, but he went and made his trek over there into Africa. He made his trek over there to Ghana, over there to South Africa, over there to these other places that have tons of gold. That's why I say you got to take the preponderance of the evidence. You have to bring it all together. You have to ask questions. You have to do research. Now, Don't take this the wrong way. But some of our people really do need to go get a better education. Why? They don't know how to process information. They don't know how to look at evidence or data and make a decision on that data. A lot of our people go with feelings. A lot of people go with whether or not they like a person or don't like a person. They don't ask questions. But the thing is this: if you exclude yourself from being quote unquote African, and all that means is that, you know, you're descendant of a group of people who lived in Africa, then you're not Israel. That's the bottom line. You're not Israel. Because where you think those 10 tribes are? You think they just disappeared? Where you think those 10 tribes are? Why do you think the people who are in the Middle East now, the Ish people, was looking for the 10 tribes? Because if you found the 10 tribes, then you will find black people in Africa. So what I'm going to share with you today is, you know, an email that I had a conversation with a brother from Africa. And, you know, some of the discussions that we had, he answered some questions because he is a Khan. He is Ashanti. And so when you look at things, right, you cannot just be so narrow-minded in understanding what happened to Israel. But see, the Ashanti are considered the Akan people. They're not considered the Bantus, from my understanding. If I'm wrong, y'all correct me. But see, we got to know that just because, for instance, somebody uses the word in zombie does not mean that's the word, right? Because the Ashanti use Inyame, as we discussed in the past. Now, so everybody get off on this kicker using in zombie. Now, I'm of the opinion that because Israel has been scattered, Israel has been separated, Israel was fighting each other for the longest, that as we see in the scriptures, dialects have changed. So some say in zombie, some say in Yame. But we know from the scriptures, the father's name is Yah. So I'm more apt to accept Inyame because I understand where Inyame comes from. I can understand why the M and is can be, you know, flipped up with the W, right? In Yahuwah or the U, Yahuwah. And we're gonna get into that a little bit because see, the more you dig, the more you find out, yeah, yep, we the people. The more you dig, you find out, yep, Africa's our home. So for all of you all who think we're from America, yeah, you stay here. You can stay here. I'll take your cut. I'll take your cut of the gold and the diamonds. I'll take your cut of the manganese. I'll take your cut of all the minerals that's in Africa. I'll take your cut, your inheritance. If you from America, I'm going to take your cut. How about that? How about that? So let's get into this. So what I'm sharing with you is an email conversation that I had. And so he says, you know, he answered a few questions for us, and we're going to go through this a little bit. He says, "Hi, Tail Ministries. Hope all is well with you and your families. Please see below my responses to your questions. 1, this was one of our questions. Do you and your people still understand Paleo-Hebrew writings? The average Akan person would not identify with the query as the name Paleo-Hebrew would be foreign to the culture. However, the Adinkra alphabet is the closest you will get to it. Most Akan people know the Adinkra symbols, but because it is not taught in schools, most do not know its history or how the writing came to be. When the colonial powers came, the first people they eliminated or exiled were priests, teachers, and historians, which makes sense, right? Because they wanted us to forget who we were, essentially cutting off communities from their identity. For the purpose of your research, I would want to share the video of this sister, I believe from Sierra Leone, who did a good observatory job comparing the Akan Adrinka alphabet. Now, I'm gonna show this to you, family. I'm not gonna show all of it. Okay, just a little bit of it, and we're gonna continue with this email and go through some things. Okay. So if you want to go look at this video, please make sure you see My Time in Heaven 7. If you want to go bring this up, I just don't feel like putting the links in the description. I may later. Okay.
Are the people of the Bible. Our history is the Bible. The unique word of the Most High is written, or the Most High wrote this message for us. So to you, I think is a good deal that you understand that we need to do the will of the Father. I don't know. I'm short of words. Today's message will be so unique that even I didn't believe that all this message is there. But again, every message or every teachings that the Most High bless us to bring is unique. It's not something that we know already, or like me, I know already. Everything that the Most High will give for me to come and share is something that is mind blowing to me. So I will put it that way. We are the covenant keeping people. The Most High Yah Elohim Havot had a covenant with us. So we need to keep his covenant. Keeping his covenant by being obedient to his word. When you read the book of Exodus chapter 19, verse 5, it said, "Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, above all people. For all the earth is mine." That says the words of the Most High. So be blessed. Today our message will based on it says writing on the wall, Hebrew writing on the wall, Hebrew writing on the wall in West Africa, Ghana. We will do this particular tribe Akan, Hebrew writing on the wall. This message is dear to my heart and it's unique because it's something that our eyes are shut and our minds are dull, that even if we see it, we don't recognize it. But because the lies or the fib has been all this year, so even if that thing hates you, the truth hates you, you won't recognize it. So we need to help ourselves by do our own research. Research means don't go other way except go to the Torah, search the Bible, you see. And all we are doing is just searching the biblical words of the Most High. So this is so mind blowing. Let me go straight to the point today. We have a chart on the screen right now, and this chart is a Dinkra symbol, symbols, a Dinkra symbols, and these Dinkra symbols are the Akan symbols. I'm not saying Akans in Ghana, and I'm not saying only the Akans have these symbols. The Akans in Ghana have only this symbol. Igbo have it, different tribe have it, and Ewe, Ghana, and all the West African tribes, each tribe, I believe, have this chart and the chart with the symbols on it. But this is very important that we have to understand something. The first one on the screen on the top is, you can see it's like round with a cross in the middle. And on the bottom, the writing on the bottom is kind of blurred, but bear with me. Sorry, this is only size that I can bring it. It just to help. I don't know. It's a royal, the second red one is a royal soul pendant, royal soul pendant. And the bottom one writing with the black is a royal leadership, royal leadership. So this is the one with the round blue, the blue color round circle on it. That's what I was saying. I was talking about right now. Royal leadership, and this royal leadership, it have circle, round circle, and it have cross in the middle. Royal leadership, royal leadership. This is so unique that the symbol of the cross. We are the cross people anyway. We are not treating that one today. The royal leadership and the cross people. How can these people that comes? They do not believe in God as they know God, okay, by their tradition people. But as you and I may say, we go to synagogue or go to church every Sunday or whenever you go to church, they don't do that. They are traditional people. I'm not saying they are herbalists or voodoo people, but no, but they are traditional people. They do believe there's a God and they don't joke with that God. They don't blaspheme against the God. They don't insult that God, but they do not worship God as they go to church each and every day, like Sundays or Wednesday or whatever. Okay, how come these people have this unique symbol? And you can see the cross in the middle, and the name is on the second one on the bottom, the red is a royal soul pendant, and the bottom one red, black, it says royal leadership, royal leadership. Next to it is the one on the screen. You can see it's on the right side on the screen, and it has run circle yellow. It says circle yellow. You can see there's like teardrop on the side. Teardrop on the side. That one was I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It have teardrop on the side, each side, and you can see the cross in the middle. It's a king's crown. The name is King's Crown. And the bottom one is a royal power. And again, the crown, King's Crown, represents the Kings of Kings, which is Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay? And they say King's Crown and say royal power. Yeshua, it doesn't have power. He is the source of power. And this the tradition or the culture people being Akan, having these symbols and giving these names, I don't believe it's coincidence. They know what they are talking about. See the teardrop. As Yeshua went to the cross of Calvary and crying, like, my God, Yahweh, why have you forsaken me? So that will be the sign or the symbol of the teardrop on the side of the cross. Please take time and just pay attention. Look at the screen very, very well on the right side, which is the yellow circle. You see, cross in the middle and teardrop on the side. And they say royal king's crown. And the bottom black one, is royal power. Yeshua is the source of power. He doesn't have the power. He is the power. So if the traditional people know all this, then we have a lot to learn. We have a lot to learn. And this, let me give a hint. West Africans, with this saying or with these symbols, anything that you come across, giving the name royal king and all that, not to their kings, no, but to the Almighty, to the omnipotent God, to the supreme being. Anytime you come across certain things, it's not to their small gods. So it's just a hint that I want to let you know. And the bottom one, it have red circle. It says the seal of the law. The seal of the law. What the seal of the law? The seal of the law, you can see again, cross in the middle. So every law, the seal is Yeshua. The seal is Christ. The seal is what? Our Savior. He came and fulfilled, seal everything. He is the one who came and fulfilled everything. That's his message. The book of Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Say, think not that I am coming to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not coming to destroy, but fulfill.
So if you want to see the rest of that, I would suggest you go watch the video. Later on, I'll probably go back and add the links. I'm just a little tired to have done it beforehand. The drink Adinkra symbols, that is the Paleo Hebrew, right? So when we go through this particular letter, we're gonna look at a few things, because it's things that we should know that they're not going to teach you, and we have to reach out to the people who do know, right? So back to this. All right, so some of these symbols are symbols within symbols, example, merged over time, and I think she understood that also. Number two, why have the Akan elders remained silent? This is our question to him. Why have the Akan elders remained silent on who we are? Have you all forgotten as well, or was there another motive? Our ancestors have learned to keep this information quiet, as nothing good but persecution and death came out of declaring it. And we know this to be a fact because, according to what we see historically about what happened to our people in Spain and Portugal, being forced to convert to Roman Catholicism. And then we know about the Muslims as well, forcing our people to convert to Islam. Yes, it was death to say you were Israelite. King Ose Agayaman Prempe said it best: keep it hidden from view and known to only a select precious few. The famous priest Onkomfo Onyoki, who presided the formation of the Ashanti Confederacy, even made it a commandment to not talk about our origin beyond the immediate Ashanti identity. As a result, many Ashanti are not aware of their origin of old. It had become forgotten to the masses. In recent few years, some traditional elders have become more open about the Israelite link. Intriguingly, not always according to knowledge passed on to them, but by revelation through dreams and visions. Third question, is Yao the same as Jehovah or Yahuwah? We're going to talk about that, family. In a nutshell, yes, the Gentiles love them H here and there, but it is essentially the same. The name Yahuwah or Yahu exists in Akan and is pronounced Yao nonetheless. However, I have yet to look into the Wa part of the name from an Akan perspective. As we know, the biblical prophets' names would oftentimes have Yah or Wa as a shortened form of Yahweh, or like we say, Yahuwah. For example, we can find the name Dodawa in 2 Chronicles 20:37. I'm currently checking the connection with the suffix wa, which accompanies many Akan female names, and is proving tedious as there is a general amnesiac syndrome amongst my people. For example, the name Surwa, or that of the famous Queen Mother who led the final battle against the Brits, Ya Asentewa, as Gentiles would have most likely written it, had she been a biblical character. However, remember that for Akan, anything added to Yah is an attribute. Therefore, we do not strip the name of adjectives. Hence, O on Yakopon, in Yame, most popular form, with the end being silent in most speech. See, this validates what we said in the book that we read from the Gentiles. Yao is ascribed to man as an honorable soul name for Thursday born, the day of life-giving. We do not use the form Yahovah to call God except in Christian circles, but I can clearly see where the Gentiles have gotten this understanding from. Unfortunately, I would not be able to say whether or not our ancestors used this form, Jehovah, in times past, as a lot of history and historians have gone missing or hidden. For example, all Akan I've surveyed did not know why we respond to all greetings with Yah. And I'm going to show this video too, just parts of it. As a Thursday born female given name. But I can understand your ancestors probably meant to respond to greetings with Yah, which would not be used today without attributes as stated above. Language shows how behaviors could have changed throughout time. All right, so I'm going to show you that video right quick. I'll go back and add these to the description, family, but there it is, learn a con. Okay.
Good morning. Memao achi. Memao achi. Memao achi. You could also use the shorter version. Machi. 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 How you respond to this greeting depends to a large extent on the age and sex of the one who greeted you. If it's an older male who greeted you, you respond by saying, Ya Eja, Ya Eja, Ya Eja. For an elderly woman, you say, Ya Ena, Ya Ena, Ya Ena. And if you were greeted by your sibling, a friend, or an age mate generally, you can respond with Ya Enya, Ya Enya, Ya Enya. Next, good afternoon. Memawo aha, Memawo aha, Memawo aha. Or the shorter version, Maha, Maha, Maha. Same responses as those given for good morning. Ya Eja to an elderly man, Ya Ena to an elderly woman, and Ya Enya to a sibling, a friend, or an age mate. Memawo ajo, Memawo ajo, Memawo ajo. Or Majo, Majo, Majo. Responses: Ya Eja, Ya Ena, and Ya Enya.
So we're gonna leave it right there, family, and I'm gonna go back to the whole concept of Yao and what Yao means. I'm gonna show a video on that, and I want to show you some things on that. So one person asked about the queen, right? That Israel didn't have queens. Well, you're talking about the biblical times. Okay, after biblical times, like probably around the 13th and 14th centuries and things like that. That's when you started having queens, right? You got to understand that a lot of the kings died, right? And so in order to continue the line, the woman took over. So things have changed, as we know, through the culture of Israel. A lot of things stayed the same, but a lot of things changed. So you have to understand that. Okay, that's why I say we need to go back and read the histories, not only from the Gentile perspective, because they have a lot of stuff written down, but we need to talk to the people who are from those tribes. Okay, we have to get an understanding. All right, so I'm gonna show this other video because we need to understand that some things we see we gloss over, and we need to ask questions. And I'm gonna show you something after this video. All right, I'm gonna put these videos in the descriptions after, family.
Oui, toute chose. Il est là parmi nous. Il agit puissamment pour la gloire de Dieu. Il est là parmi nous.
O is one. It is a reflection of the uniqueness of Onyen Kopan. This attribute is found in words such as Onipa, which means a singular person, and Otumfu, which means powerful. Ya is the being. In the context of Onyen Kopan, it is understood to be the supreme being. Other attributes given are Father, Eja, or Wisdom, Yansa. Ko is life. By implication, it is a living thing, living being. And Pon is great. This attribute is found in words such as Pon, which means great person. Onyen Kopan therefore means the great living one, who alone is wise and supreme. He is also known as Nyame or Onyame, which means O, the only one, Ya, the being, and self-made. So that's the only self-being. But pause here for a second. Have you noticed something? If you strip away all the attributes surrounding the name, you're left with Yah, which is the only thing that is not an attribute. Yah is the actual being. Yah is the essence, is the supreme being. We will now talk about the Akan name Yao, which is given to a male born on Thursday. We will draw a biblical parallel to the name as Akan soul names carry the name of the supreme gods. Yao can be broken down as follows. He is Ya, a being, and Nyansa, which means wisdom. Wo means to birth or bring forth life. For example, she gave birth is Wawo. As Yao is a male given name, we understand his life-bringing portion is that of a father, or Aja in the Twi language. Therefore, Yao stands for the Father being who brings forth life. Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. And the Lord, which in the Hebrew text is Yahweh, God, which is Elohim plural, formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Yahweh, the supreme being, brings forth life. Akan people have a lot of respect for women, so the picture wouldn't be complete without Yah. Whenever elders are unable to come up with an important decision, they would say Yakobisa Abriwa, which means we will consult the old woman. This old woman, with the unparalleled wisdom to unlock difficult situations, is often understood to be Asaseya. In Akan belief system, Nyame, the supreme god, assigned Asaseya to the human family by way of the earth. Asase simply means earth, and Ya is the name given to Thursday-born Akan female. Therefore, Ya is Nyansa, wisdom, a being with wisdom. Looking into the Bible, it looks like the author of the Book of Wisdom of Solomon, if not King Solomon himself, had this perfect understanding. In chapter 7 he writes, I called out, and wisdom's spirit came to me. I chose wisdom above all the symbols of royalty and over any throne. In comparison to her, I counted riches as nothing. Verse 22, for wisdom, the designer of everything that is, has taught me. Verse 25, wisdom is the warm breath of God's power. Verse 26, she's a mirror that flawlessly reflects God's activity. She is the perfect image of God's goodness. Verse 27, she can do anything since she's one and undivided. She enters souls and shapes them into God's friends and prophets.
So, family, I wanted to show here, mainly about Yao. And we talked about that, how, Yao and Yah and Yahuwah and, all of those are tied together. And so one thing I want to show you as well is that we need to understand that there's literally no doubt of who we are. There's literally no doubt. And if you were to ask the Ish people to bring their evidence, and we bring our evidence, I guarantee you we would win in a balanced court of law, right? I'm not talking about an imbalanced court of law because, they cheat. But let's look at this right quick. So Ashan, the Ashanti means the people of Ashan. Now, this is in your Bible. Okay, Ashan, an unknown site in the domain of Judah. Okay, an unknown site in the domain of Judah possessed by Simeon and mentioned among the priest cities in 1 Corinthians 6:59, Joshua 21:16. Ayin is a corruption of Ashan. Korashan, Borashan, which was probably the site of some reservoir in the southwest part of Judah. So once again, I want to make my point. When does coincidence stop being coincidence? When we start seeing a bunch of Jews in Africa, right? Many different tribes with the traditions, the names, everything. At what point do you start saying, okay, well, in order for this to make sense, we gotta look at the scriptures from an African viewpoint. Okay, so as I mentioned before, if you were to include the 12 tribes as they try to do, go look at the maps, right, that they have for modern Israel, and they show you where the 12 tribes were, right? Look how compact they are in those maps that they have. Look how compact they are. In order to get those 12 tribes to fit all in that area, look how compact it is. But let's not forget the Hittites were living there with them. The Perizzites was living there with them. The Jebusites was living there with them. The Canaanites was living there with them. They're not on the maps. I'm telling you, the Middle East, there's no way it could be our land. No way whatsoever. So we saw the word Yah and how that relates to Yah, right? Now, what I want to show you is, and I hope you all went and saw Dante's video. He did a video about, pretty much, just destroying the UA, destroying Nefertiti. There's literally nothing they can do about it, because I'm like, he didn't slap them down. I mean, there's nothing they can do. How are they going to disprove all that evidence, right? So one of the things that was shared, right, is this map. Okay, this is the map from the Duke of Orleans. We've showed it in some of our videos as well. Now, notice by Lamlim, according to Idrisi, is the land of hereabout was peopled by Jews. So according to Idrisi, the land hereabout was peopled by Jews. Now, one thing we overlook is Yauri. Yauri. Now, I just showed you what Yao means. Why do they have Yauri at the location that is peopled by Jews? Because Yao is synonymous with Yah. Now, for my Ashanti people, maybe you can answer me what the RI is. I'm assuming, based upon the context, that Yauri probably means the people of Yah. That's just my guess. But we do know from what we saw that Yah references Yah, where Jews were. Okay, so let's continue. So remember, you're not getting out of the matrix without taking all the little pieces together and building an image, without taking all of the proof text and building your story. You're not going to get out the matrix otherwise, because this has been over 1,000 years of deception. This has been over 1,000 years of pretending that what we call Palestine is our land. But it doesn't fit the descriptions of the Bible. It doesn't fit at all, which is why for the longest I kept looking at it, kept looking, right? Because I'm like, this just doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. So it took a while to shake off the overt deception. Now remember, according to Psalm 83, they wanted to what? Move us far away from our land. Why? So that the name of Israel will no longer be in remembrance. UA, Nefertiti, and that whole crew will have a tough time defeating the evidence. A tough time. An impossible time, really. So, I want to share another thing with you. So we have the Yao people in East Africa. Now we saw that Yao was on the Duke of Orleans map, where it was peopled by Jews. We saw from our Ashanti brother that Yao means Yah, Yahuwah. But y'all, some of y'all want to say we not African. Well, it depends on your definition of African. See, there's no people called African. There's no people called African. And Shawnee, I like that. Perfect. Jewelry, Yaori makes sense to me. There's no people called African, family. There's a people called Ashanti, or the people of Ashan. There's the Bantu people who are Igbo, Yoruba. You got the Hausa. See, y'all want to throw everybody in the bucket of African, which includes everybody on that continent. Y'all got to stop it. You got to use intellect, family. You got to use your intellect, and we got to be more scientific in how we present our case. We got to be more scientific in our analysis. Look, I'm going to say this, family, because I'm surprised I'm still getting this type of comments, but, you know, when you say stuff like there was no letter J, I mean, you got to stop it. You really do. You got to stop it. You got to understand translations, transliterations, and what happens with languages before you go and tell somebody there was no letter J. If you were going to use that to make your point, you done lost. You done lost. You done lost the debate. If that's what you're going to come with, there was no letter J, forget it. You lost. We got to up our game. I keep telling y'all that y'all can't just do this. And I know some of y'all learning this stuff from some of y'all mores, but y'all got to stop it. You got to up your game, family. Look, if you want to know about DNA, then you need to study DNA. If you want to know about haplogroups, you need to study haplogroups. If you want to know about Israel and Africa and the tribes, you need to study Israel, Africa, and the tribes. You can't go by feelings. So let me continue. So the Yao people, Yao, are a major Bantu ethnic and linguistic group based at the southern end of Lake Malawi, who played an important part in the history of Southeast Africa during the 19th century. The Yao are predominantly Muslim people of about 2 million spread over 3 countries: Malawi, northern Mozambique, and in Ruvuma region and Mtwara region of Tanzania. The Yao people have a strong cultural identity which transcends the national borders. History. The majority of Yao are subsistence farmers and fishermen. When Arabs arrived on the southeastern coast of Africa, they began trading with the Yao people, mainly ivory, grains, people who were forced to be slaves in exchange for clothes and guns. Because of their involvement in this coastal trade, they became one of the richest, most influential tribes in South Africa, Southern Africa. Large Yao kingdoms came into being as Yao chiefs took control of the Niassa province of Mozambique in the 19th century. During that time, the Yao began to move from their traditional home to today's Malawi and Tanzania, which resulted in the Yao populations they now have. The most important result of the chiefdoms was the turning of the whole nation to Islam around the turn of the 20th century and after World War I. Because of their trade with the Arabs and Swahili, the Yao chief sultans needed scribes who could read and write. The Islamic teachers who were employed and lived in the Yao villages made a significant impact on the Yao people because they could offer them literacy, a holy book, religious clothes, and square instead of round houses. Furthermore, the Yao sultans strongly resisted Portuguese, British, and German colonial rule, which was viewed as a major cultural and economic threat to them. The British tried to stop the Irish slave trade by attacking some of the Yao trade caravans and near the coast. The Yao chief Mantaka rejected Christianity as Islam offered them a social system which would assimilate their traditional culture. Because of the political and ritual domination of chiefs, the conversion to Islam caused their subjects to do likewise. The folk Islam which the Yao people have embraced is syncretized with their traditional animistic beliefs. Thank you, AM, for the gift. All right, so there was something else I wanted to show you. Where was that? I think it's right here. Yeah. So in Mozambique, the Yao originally lived in northern Mozambique, formerly Portuguese East Africa. A close look at the history of the Yao people of Mozambique as a whole shows that the ethno-geographic center was located in a small village called Chikonono in the northwestern Mozambican province of Niassa. The majority of Yao were mainly subsistence farmers, but some were also active as ivory and slave traders. They faced social and political decline with the arrival in today's Niassa province of the Portuguese, who established the Niassa Company and settled in the region, founding cities and towns, destroying the indigenous independent farm and trade economy and changing it to the plantation economy controlled by themselves. Thank you, Megastone, for the gift. The expanding Portuguese Empire had established trading posts, forts, and ports in East Africa since the 15th century, in direct competition with the diverse, influential Muslim political forces, Somali, Swahili, Ottomans, Mughals, and Yemeni Sufi orders to a limited extent, and increasingly Ibadi influences from independent southeastern Arabia. The spice route and Christian evangelization were the main driving forces behind Portuguese expansion in the region. So remember, we know what was going on, right? We know that our people was being kicked out of Spain and Portugal, sent to Sao Tome, sent to Angola, right? And I believe in some of them, I think they did mention Mozambique. I'm gonna have to go back and validate that. But once again, we see the Portuguese involved with Israelites. The Portuguese Empire was by then one of the greatest political and economic powers in the world. Portuguese-run agricultural plantations started to expand, offering paid labor to the tribal population. The Yao increasingly became poor plantation workers under Portuguese rule. However, they preserved their traditional culture as subsistency agriculture. As Muslims, the Yao could not stand domination by the Portuguese, who offered Christian education and taught the Portuguese language to the Muslims at their groups. So what did the scripture says? That we would worship what? Wood and stone. Islam and Christianity, not biblical Christianity. Okay, Roman Catholicism. All right, thank you, Denise, for the gift. Let's see. So anyway, we're going to move on, family. So just to let you know that, the Yao do have all those traditions of Israel, and the circumcision and all of those things. So once again, I don't know what else we have to prove, right? Because we know who we are. So let's go back to the email and continue reading that. There's a lot more to say about the subject, in addition to the story of Jacob and Esau from an Akan perspective. If interested, simply let me know. I'll be happy to share. Question number 4. Where is Jerusalem? In essence, you're asking whether Exodus 3:18, specifically H5488, Yam Suf, could pertain to the Sea of Reeds within the Nile Delta. In other words, could the Exodus have taken place across the Nile River rather than the Red Sea? The translators had a choice, and they've made it. For my part, I could not get any definite response from my circle. For sure, there is oral tradition in relation to our coming through the land east of Lower Egypt, modern-day Israel. However, there's also a tendency thinking that this passage and settlement in Egypt was part of a migration toward the New Jerusalem, present-day Ghana, or as others would say, towards the land of purification. Coincidentally, modern-day Ghana is the center of the earth at 0 longitude, 0 latitude, known as the null point. Is it a coincidence our ancestors eventually went to possess this specific land? Eerily, it is there that an Ashanti prophet arose named Okomfo Tuda, who predicted that 100 years from his statement, a time will come when Ashanti king power would pass into the hands of the white man who led far away beyond the great water. The white man would rule over the Ashanti nation with a strike of feathers and sticks. I don't know about you, but this sounds to be like Yah spoke Deuteronomy 28 through him as a final grace warning to our ancestors. Of course, they killed the prophets, but the prophecy still came to pass, as we know. Was West Africa the land they were meant to possess, along with all the other tribes that settled on the west coast of Africa by the Great Sea, Atlantic Ocean? Such as the Dan Yakuba, which literally means Dan, children of Yakub, tribe of Cote d'Ivoire, the Igbos, or is it a purification land to come, i.e. the wilderness? I'm afraid I do not have the answer at present times, but will continue to search and share if anything. I posted a below comment on one of your YouTube videos, which perhaps would help with your research. And as for the western border, ye shall even have the great sea for a border. This shall be your western border, Numbers 34:6. The Mediterranean Sea doesn't even rank amongst the top 5 largest seas. As a matter of fact, it ranks 9th. However, the Atlantic Ocean, stretching all the way to the west coast of Africa, is the 2nd largest sea after the Pacific Ocean. Also, you know how there's always a scholar who seems not to have gotten the memo. In this case, it is Quatremere, reviewing Hitzig's book in the journal Des Savants, a theory which derived the original Philistine Sherites land from West Africa. Quatremere therefore implies the seacoast land Judah took over from the original Philistines, and where they will eventually dwell in peace, according to Zephaniah 2:5-7, is on the west coast of Africa. All right, so let's go here. So here's a online book. You can go and check it out. It's the Philistines, their history and civilization.
Sorry, something's wrong. Please try again. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection.
Sorry, family, that's my dumb phone acting up. If you hear all of that craziness. All right, so you can go to this online. I'll put it in the descriptions. All right, so it says, for completeness sake, we may refer here to various other theories of Philistine origin which have been put forward by modern scholars. It is, however, not necessary to give full references. To all the writers who have considered the question, the favorite hypothesis among those who rejected the Caphtor Crete identification was founded on the Greek version and Josephus. Caphtor was by them identified with Cappadocia and Casium and the Colchians. Hitzig, as stated earlier in this chapter, identified them with the Pelasgians, who came, according to his view, from Crete to North Egypt, identified with the Calcium of the Table of Nations, their language he supposed to be cognate with Sanskrit, and by Sanskrit he interpreted many of the names of people and places. Quatremere, reviewing Hitzig's book in the journal Des Savants, suggested a rival theory deriving them from West Africa, equating Caslim with Shilon, a sept of the Berbers. Stark, Gaza, page 70, assigned them to the Phoenicians, accepting the South Semitic etymology of the name Pelstim, Cathor being the delta, and calcium, a name cognate with the Cassios mountain. So basically, family, all of that is to say that the Philistines, according to Quathramir, in reference to Hitzik's book, was in West Africa. Now, remember, this is a theory, I guess, on his part. But most of this stuff is theoretical, based upon names of particular people groups and locations that they find in other writings, and trying to determine years later where that place is and who these people were. So according to Quathramir, right, it was in West Africa. So the Philistines were in West Africa. Thank you, Sharon, for the gift. So back to our conversation. Question number 5. What is the name for Israel? Isolele, etc. All these names sound very foreign to all Akan, I know, and make it difficult for us to identify with. We use the name Israel as we do other biblical names by default, by ignorance and for common understanding. The name a few elders have uttered is Asre. The name was first made public by Dr. Nana Darkwa, who happens to be an Akan royal, and is translated as the first one who visited. So this was a lot of information he gave us here, and I really appreciate it. And we see here, though, that it's a possibility that the original name for Israel was Asre, according to, Dr. Nana Darkwa. And, we have some people who talk about the Yerve and all of those type things. I mean, at this point, we don't really know for sure. So one more thing I want to do before we close is, because I saw someone ask the question earlier about the Euphrates River. So I decided I'm gonna talk about that real quick. Okay, so this is The Earth and Its Inhabitants by Euphrates Recluse. So Dante talked about this today in his show. So east of Great Popo begins the Dahomey territory, guarded by the important town of Glewe, known to Europeans by the various names of Fida, Wida. The old writers called it Judah, and its inhabitants were said to be Jews, while the neighboring river Alala, whose real name is Ephra, became the Euphrates. During the flourishing days of the slave trade, from 16 to 18,000 were annually transported from Judah, as the Portuguese called this place, which at that time had a population of 35,000. So we know what was going on here, which was the slave trade, right? I mean, not the transatlantic at this point, but the Portuguese had enslaved us at Sao Tome and in other parts of Africa. Right now, according to Euphrates Recluse, the Alala River real name is Ephra, and it became known as the Euphrates River. So according to my research, from what I found, and if you go and look at the area of Benin, right, which is where this area is, Ouida, Judah, which is in Benin, the Euphrates River would be the Niger River. So according to the Bible, we could be talking about the Niger River. According to Euphrates Recluse, it was called Ephra, the Alala River, which was the Niger River, the great river Euphrates. So as I mentioned before, family, we have the Jordan River in Africa. We now have the Euphrates River in Africa. We got Jews in Africa. We have names of places we found in the Bible. We have all these things. We have the gold, the copper, all the things we see in the scripture. Now, you tell me the Middle East is our land. Come on, prove it. So we know for a fact that there was a conspiracy to hide who we are, and therefore to hide where we're from. And the nations are going to fight over our land. And all the nations are putting their feet in Africa. All the nations want that gold and that silver and that manganese and that bauxite and whatever that mineral is they use for cell phones that little kids are picking and dying from. So if you think the Middle East is our land, you can have it. I'll take Africa. Like I say too, if you think America is our homeland and not Africa, that's fine. I'll take your cut of Africa. I'll take the gold and the silver and the diamonds and the manganese and all of that. I'll take it. Lithium, chromium, yep, carats, yep. I'll take it. I'll take your cut. You can have America. How about that? So, family, this is just to add to the research. This is to add to the study of Israel being sub-Saharan Africa. I know I say Africa a lot, but when I say Africa, I'm talking about sub-Saharan Africa. Even though I know historically some of our people were in that Algeria as well. So that's why I say, family, we need to do our research. We need to, be logical about it, not make dumb assumptions like there is no J. Try to argue that with a professor. There was no J. I know that it's not in reference to who we are, but I'm just saying you have to up your game. You have to say my source is this, my source is that. I have primary sources, secondary sources. I have biblical evidence. I have oral history, which we have it all. We have it all. Which is why, in my opinion, we'll be going back to Africa, the wilderness of the people, and Jerusalem, somewhere there. Maybe it's Kalahari, maybe not. Right now, that's as good a place as any. So, family, do your research. Don't let anybody tell you we crazy, because we not. It's the time of the awakening. Okay? It's the time of the awakening. And everything that was hidden is being revealed. Everything is being revealed. They can ignore it all they want. Just like we warned them about what's happening prophetically speaking. We told them this was coming. We told them America would be judged. We told them this. They don't listen. We told them we're Israel. They don't listen. And I'm not saying everybody, because some do listen. And I'm going to have a show October 24th with 3 Gentile brothers discussing their awakening. So make sure you tune in, family. And also go watch Dante's video he did today. A lot of work. Good research. And just put it all together. Because you are Israel, and the Most High is coming for you to deliver you from the land of your captivity. Just look up Israel for your redemption. Draw it nigh. Peace and blessings.